to Happy and Healthy. Happy Tuesday. That is if you're listening to this podcast on a Tuesday. If you don't know, I post these podcasts every single Tuesday. The goal of this podcast is to help you be more happy and healthy in all aspects of life. Why is that always a hard word to say? And my name is Janina Mopola, and I am really excited for today's episode. I get to bring on one of my great friends, Madison Watkins. We were trying to get this podcast filmed when I was out in LA at the end of January, and it just didn't happen. The odds were against us. And so we were like, all right, you know what? Bet. Ain't nothing going to stop us. We're going to do virtual. So I'm really excited to have Madison on the podcast. I can't wait for y'all to hear her story. She is a singer, an artist. She's stunning, just so beautiful, has such a cool story, such a fun personality, and just someone that I'm like, y'all need to follow my girl Madison. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, because we're going to be basically talking about kind of what is it like being a Christian in the Hollywood sphere, being a Christian in the world, being a Christian in these, these types of industries that it's really hard to be a Christian. What are the things that we face? What are the things that she's faced? I've had my own oppositions and my own battles, but I'm sure she's experienced it, a little bit different by being on a TV show. She was on American Idol, and I'm sure she saw it, way more differently than I did. And so I'm actually really excited to hear more of her story, and just hope you guys enjoy today's episode. And again, all her socials will be down below. My socials will be down below. We do now on the Happy and Healthy podcast, ask you guys for questions so that you guys can ask our guests some questions. If you want to be featured in Excuse me, y'all, I had a burp. Oh, every time. I'm sorry. So if you guys want to ask my future guests some questions and you want to get a sneak peek of who's coming up on the podcast, follow Happy and Healthy Podcast or my Instagram as well. Happy and Healthy Podcast and Janina Mopola, so you guys can have your questions featured in the next episode. Also, really fast, I want to let y'all know that I just found out randomly today from a friend that my podcast has made the top Apple charts, but not on one chart, 2 charts, and I had no idea until she told me. I'm currently 47 on top education charts, as well as 37 on the top self-improvement charts, which is so crazy to me. I would have never imagined that my podcast would have made that. Thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart for reposting the clips and sharing everything on social media and sharing it with your friends and listening and sowing a seed financially, so many things. Thank you guys. I just wanted to mention that and say it means so much to me. I never thought my podcast would be like this, but here we are. I'm so thankful. This podcast has been a dream. It's like my little baby. I love it so much. And so thank you guys. I just wanted to share that really fast. Let's just get right into it. I'm super excited to chat with Madison, and let's do it. Madison, I'm so excited. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I've literally been listening to this podcast so much. Honestly, Janine, I don't really listen to podcasts, but I listen to your podcast.
I'm so honored. Thank you.
So to be honest, I'm so pumped right now.
I will say I'm pretty picky on podcasts as well, because I'm like, I'm giving you my precious time and I want to learn something. I want to grow from a podcast. And so thank you for saying that. That's awesome.
Yes.
Well, I'm so excited to have you on the podcast because, as you know, we tried to do this when, I was out in LA, and there was just glitches upon glitches and so many things that just didn't happen. But here we are finally, and I am so excited to hear more of your story. Obviously I've heard your story, but I'm excited for you to share your story with more of the world. I think you have an amazing gift, an amazing voice, an amazing story, and you are genuinely so sweet and so kind and so humble and so uplifting, encouraging. And I feel like, people, they look at someone online and they're like, I wonder if she's really nice in real life. And I'm like, yes, she is. She actually really is so sweet and the real deal and real person. And so I just want to say I love supporting you, and I'm so happy to have you on the podcast.
Well, don't make me emotional. I've been so emotional today.
Is it that time of the month?
I'm like, it's not, which I don't know what today is. I was with some of our mutual friends, Allie and Emily. We got a little girl squad.
Yeah, I love them.
And I was with them this morning, and we were just asking each other how we could pray for each other. And I just started crying. It wasn't even that big of a deal, but I just started crying. I was like, yo, I'm just so emotional today. So don't make me emotional, Janine, because
I swear our friend group, like every time that we all get together, someone ends up crying. Like every single time. Even when we were all here in Dallas, all of us are just sobbing in my living room. I'm like, what is happening? But I kind of like it.
I just feel like there's power with these strong women. I'm like, we just have this power and the Holy Spirit speaks through us. So then it just hits different.
Oh my God. It hits different.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I totally agree. And don't ever take that friend group for granted because I miss them so much and you're in such a good place with them. And so I love that. But I do want to hear, more of your story. So I kind of want you just to take some time just to kind of share like maybe a little bit of your testimony, your singing journey, your background. Obviously you were on American Idol, which I think is a big part of your story, but that's not your identity. Not everyone can just be like, oh, Madison Watkins is the American Idol. Like you are so much more than just the show. You are, your talents and your identity that God's given you. And so I want to just hear more of your story, the journey you've been on and what's been good and what's been bad in that.
It's hard to wrap up your story. I mean, anytime I'm asked this, it's like, there's so much to anybody's story, right? But I'm originally from Arkansas. I'm from Fayetteville, Arkansas. And really just at a young age, at like 10 years old, I felt like God told me, like, I want you to be a pop star, which
Hannah Montana?
Weird. What'd you say?
I said Hannah Montana?
Right. I'm like, hello. And I just remember like telling my parents that. And honestly, being like 10 and kind of like hearing a word from God, you're like, is this just me or like, is this really something? But God has shown me throughout the years that he told me that at a young age to start preparing my heart. And I like literally will never forget this. I ran into the living room and I just told my parents, like, I'm going to be a singer. Like, what are you guys going to do about it? Like, how are you going to help me?
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah. And they were like, we don't know. Like, we live in Arkansas. Like, we don't know anything about the music industry, anything. But I think what's so cool about it is I was promised this thing that God told me years ago, but to watch it kind of unfold, there's been times where I've been super impatient. There's been times where I've been like, I don't want to do this, God. This is like not for me. Why did you call me to this? Why did you give me this gift? But the overall, I feel like kind of message I've received is that like, number one, it's not my gift and it's not the plan for my life, but it's God's plan. And he just uses my gift to impact people for him and to show people how much he loves them. And I think, I'm not a Christian singer. I'm not considered a Christian singer. And that's something that has actually been really difficult because balancing being in the music industry, in the pop world, and then also being a believer, being a light in that darkness, it's super hard. Like, and I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not, and it doesn't always look good. People question me a lot. There's a lot of things that I have to turn down. There's just so many like decisions on a daily basis that I'm really filtering through the Lord. But at the end of the day, I'm just so honored.
Yeah.
That God would use me for this and that he's called me to one of the darkest industries. Wow. Really not trying to get super spiritual with it, but
get spiritual, honestly, girl.
Satan's industry, because it is like, there's so many satanic things in the business that I'm in. And I feel like God has called me to step in and be the light in the darkness.
Wow. I couldn't agree more. I mean, I lived out in LA as well, as you know, and I got to witness some of that. And it is like at the time when you're not really like, I guess you could say spiritually, like quote unquote woke, you don't really like notice it. And you're kind of like, oh, okay. Like people are doing some weird things. And then I think as you mature in your faith, you're like, wait a dang minute. What was that? And there's some crazy things that like, I mean, I've seen some documentaries. I'm like, what are these people doing? Some crazy stuff. So you kind of mentioned living in this tension of like, okay, I have to, my team makes money when I make money. They're feeding off of me. There's an agency behind me. There's a team. Obviously, they want me to be a singer and do things and dress a certain way and look, all these different things, sing about certain things. And it's so hard when you feel like you're being tugged because it's like, it literally is light versus darkness, like, flesh versus the spiritual world. And so it's just kind of like, how do you actually balance that? Because it is hard. So what are some of like the practical things or things you're doing to kind of fight that and be proactive and more aware of when you see yourself being pulled back and forth?
Yeah, I think, and this sounds like a cliche, but this is really how I live my life. I have to have non-distracted alone time with God.
Mm.
Like, I have to. And my place is the beach. And I know, Janine,
Don't make me
sometimes
cry.
I know. Even I like texted you the other day. I'm like, yeah, so I'm having my quiet time at the beach. And you're like, ugh.
I'm literally in snow right now. Like I'm cold. I'm a popsicle.
Right. Right. But I will go most mornings to the beach early and I will just spend time with God. And he speaks to me really, really clearly. And in those moments, and I can't be distracted. And I would say that. And then I would honestly say just the people I surround myself with, the girls out here. The two ways to, stay close to Jesus is to clearly spend time with him, but also the people around you. I know we always say that, but you're going to emulate if the people around you are constantly going out, constantly drinking, constantly like, you're going to do that.
Right.
And then if the people around you are pushing you to Jesus, then you're going to do that. And I think the biggest kind of quote that I live by is like being in the world, but not of it.
Yep.
I think, for me, there's even situations that Christians have looked at me and been like, why did you put yourself in that situation? But that's a situation that God called me into. And it might look dark on the outside or not glorifying to God, but actually it's exactly where God is asking me to go into. And I feel like that's how Jesus lived his life. Like,
wow,
he wasn't just in the church. He was at the bars. He was in situations where the Pharisees would be like, you're not really the son of God. Cause if you were, you wouldn't be in those situations.
Exactly.
And, and at the end of the day, I don't have to, like, the end of my life, I'm not going to have to account to people. Like I'm going to have to talk to God. And so, unfortunately, sometimes it's been my brothers and sisters in Christ that have been, when I've been in the world, but not of it, they've kind of been like, wait a second. And I understand, where their heart is coming from sometimes, but I'm also like, you got to trust the Holy Spirit in me because this is where I'm called to be, and I feel like that about my business. I feel like I'm supposed to be in the music business to be a light for Christ and be unashamed and make Jesus like dope. Like, if we're going to make all these other things dope and the world, like, why are we not making him? He's like the best thing that's ever happened to me. And so I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to make him cool. Like, I'm going to make his name great because he's changed my life.
Gosh, that is, oh my gosh, that is so, so good. I think what you touched upon is just being misunderstood. And that's something I always say to people is like, when you're in this industry and then as soon as you slap on the label of like, I'm a Christian, you are automatically subjecting yourself to all this extra criticism. And sometimes it be your own people, your Christian people that are coming and judging you even more. And I'm like, the frick? And
literally.
So I know they have good intentions and I know they have a good heart, but sometimes I'm like, okay, I don't need to succumb to what you want me to do. Like, I'm not serving you, I'm serving God. And I definitely felt that was the tension I felt, so much with starting my YouTube and then transitioning into faith and people being like, wait, you're going to do what? And like, it's definitely so weird. And it's such a fine line to find like, okay, how much is too much? And is this okay? Is it not? But I love that you talked about just community because, who you surround yourself with is who you will become. And I believe it shifts everything. And so I would not be who I am or healthy in any shape or form if I didn't have good people. And again, just touching back to the point of just like going to the places that people wouldn't normally go. Like other Christians are like, I would never. And you're like, okay, don't mind if I do. And it's
open the door for me.
You want to open the door? Don't let the door hit you on the way out. I love that because I do think that's so true. It's like when everyone was like, ew, the leopard, I'm never going to touch the leopard. And Jesus is like, dude. He just starts poking at the leopard. He's like, what's up, leopard? Like he will go to the places and the people that people are like ostracizing and casting out. And I think it's like, if we're going to be in this industry, instead of complaining about it, why not make a change? Like, why don't we be the change we want to see? Because otherwise you're just complaining. And I
Come
think that's
on.
so powerful that you, and I know a lot of you LA girls, like Sarah Partain has talked about that a ton. She's like, I feel called to make a difference in Hollywood. And I'm like,
Mm,
frick, yes. Like, if you're not going to do it or other Christians aren't going to do it, then who's going to do it? Like, it's going to be a cycle. And
right.
so thank you for being willing to do that. I know it's not easy, but I believe that the Holy Spirit, there is so much power.
I want to actually tell a story. The other day, talking about community, it has to do with Maddie, your roommate. I
Hmm.
literally, so I got this brand deal, and it was a really good check. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a pretty good
Hmm.
offer, and I was like, oh wow, like this is awesome. And then I read what the offer entailed, and um really they wanted me to talk about, like, something that had to do with sex, and something that just like made me feel like, first of all, nah,
Yep.
that's not what I'm about. And then, but it was very like, I could have kind of turned twisted it to make it like not as bad, I guess, if you
Mm.
know what I'm saying.
Yep.
And so I ended up calling Maddie, and I just said, hey, like, I got this offer, like, I kind of need, just your input on it. And her advice was so good. She's like, if there's anything in your spirit that feels kind of like hesitant about it, just don't do it, you
Yep.
know? And it was super convicting for me, because I was like, dang, I should have said that, like, but I was like, no, that's what community's for,
Yeah.
right? I
Yep.
needed her to like look at me and just be like, nah, Mads, like, you're better than this. Like,
Yeah.
like, don't do that. It doesn't matter the amount of money. It doesn't matter. Are you going to compromise who God has called you to
Yeah.
be for that? But without that community,
Hmm.
I might have taken it.
Right.
I'm not better than anybody else. Like, so just that community, that accountability is so good. And even when we do make the mistake of maybe taking it or whatever, having the community to give you grace and be like,
Right.
all right, you know what? Let's not do that next time. It's okay. We did it this time, but maybe not next time. So
Yeah.
community is so important, especially like you said, when we're out here in this war of
Hmm.
of the entertainment business.
Gosh. And I think that just makes me think of a whole quote. And thank you for sharing that story. It's JP says that every bad idea sounds good in isolation. And so if you had stayed isolated, you probably would have taken the deal.
Right.
But it's so good on you to be like, okay, I know I could take this, but let me just ask one wise person. And Maddie was like, And that's what's so crazy is like with this, it's like one little compromise it can equate to something massive. And so if we keep compromising, compromising,
Wow.
compromising, then all of a sudden you're in a situation and you're like, oh my gosh, like how did I end up here? Because you just kept compromising and thinking it wasn't a big deal. And so that's where it starts. And so I love that you shared that because I think looking even at my own sisters, like my sisters were these world traveling models and they wanted to be, approved and liked. And they kind of kept compromising till they were doing
Mhm.
some things that they were like, wait a dang minute. Like, oh my gosh, how did I end up here? And it's because you're slowly compromising. And I just think it's a dangerous territory to be. So yeah, wow. Thank you for sharing that. That's so crazy.
Yeah, and I think something that is, I feel like something that God has put on my heart is that I need to share those moments that I don't really look good in.
Mm,
And I think it's very easy as a believer to make yourself look good a lot
yeah.
and hide things that maybe would make other people question you. But I feel like with me, and I feel like that's the easiest way for me to share Christ with my non-believer friends, because I'm very honest about my sin and things that I struggle with. And I'm an open book with it, because in my weakness, his power is the best, right? His
Yeah.
his grace is the best. Everything about Jesus is amplified in my weakness. And I don't want to praise my sin because I don't like it. And I don't, and I hate, sinning against God, because he's only loved me and he's only been there for
Mm,
me. But I want to say, like, I'm not perfect, because it only amplifies him,
yeah.
and it's
Mm-hmm.
it's an honor to get to say, like, I don't really know what I'm doing, and I almost took that deal, or I almost did this, but like, by God's grace, I didn't, or he pulled me out of that sin or that situation. And so to me, it's an honor to just get to say like, I am not perfect and I do things all the time that I'm not proud of, but God, he loves me and he's given me so much grace. And that's what I have to boast about.
I love that. And I think there's such like a deep intimacy that people can connect with you in vulnerability. And I think that's like why I like following you. Like I literally always think this whenever I'm scrolling. I'm like, I love that she's not afraid to like look dumb or mess up or make a goofy face or show up looking, whatever. Like I wish I had a little bit more of that. And I'm like, okay, Lord, give me that. Like, cause I just love that you're so unapologetically yourself. And I think that's why I felt drawn to you, is because you are so unapologetic. And like literally at that Soul Cycle class when
can we talk about how we met?
Can we talk about that? Yeah, why did we not even talk about that?
I don't know.
Okay, so who was hosting the Soul Cycle class?
Don't even remember.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Some brand.
Some brand was hosting this Soul Cycle class in West Hollywood. I show up, I'm there with my best friend. Actually, I think I was there with Lauren Littman. And we were having a grand old class. I mean, you're like screaming on your bike. We're like throwing our towels. And the whole time I'm like, who is this girl? Like, I like her. And we get out of the class and we're like, okay, we need to meet each other. Like, who are you? And I felt like we just like clicked and we got each other's number and we never hung out. I don't know why we didn't do that. Why did we not do that? But we clicked. And I just thought you were so dope and like authentic and just so real. And I could just tell from the very start, I was like, she is not like every other person here, which is such a testimony to who you are.
Wow. Thank you for saying that. I felt the same way about you. And it's funny now that this is another thing, like the fact that we're in the same like friend group now.
Yeah. It's so crazy.
It's kind of freaky because God was just like, 2 years later, y'all just wait.
Yeah, he's like, I know you need this.
Right.
Oh,
right.
I love it.
I love that because I know that the more and more we grow in our careers, right? It's such an interesting dynamic because the more we grow in our careers usually means the more people know who we are, right? It's such a weird, most people as they grow in their career, like it's not that way, you know?
Right.
But I always just pray like, God, the more that you grow my career or that more people just know my existence, like that your obviously existence would be like, more people would know it, right? But I also feel like in that prayer, I'm always just like, humble me so that those people can see that you're the only reason why I have anything to give. Like,
wow.
I just think that's why I'm so okay with just like being myself. Cause I'm like, listen, if I say something dumb, like he's got me, right?
Yeah.
If I do something dumb, like he's got me. And like, I don't want to be perfect because like I said, like, he is perfect. And I'm striving to be more like Jesus every single day. But the only thing that does is when people see mistakes in my life is it allows me to say, thank the Lord for the Lord.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? Like, thank God for him because it's not about me, and even if my career is about me, it's not about me.
Yeah. And I think that's what's so like, why I love this job is that I think you and I had this commonality of like, I know that the means that I'm doing it to other people can be like, oh my gosh, she's so conceited. All she does is post these videos and these pictures of herself. But behind that, it really is, hey, I'm here to preach the gospel. I'm kind of here to like bring in people that wouldn't traditionally click on a Christian page and be like, oh, this girl, she's trendy or she's cute, whatever. But what's different about her? And that's like my heart too, is like, hey, I want to be vulnerable. Like, I'm not ever here to be like, I'm perfect. I think being perfect is boring. Like, I think it's so boring. Like, to have it all together, boring. Like, I'm real. I mess up. And so I want, same thing with you. Like, I'm so open about my story, like almost to a fault. Like this random person on the bus, I'm like, did you know this about me? And they're like, I didn't even ask you.
Yeah.
And I just like, again, the oversharing thing may be an issue for me. I need to talk to my therapist, but I overshare because I'm like, maybe this person will relate to my story and it'll help them. But I think it's just so cool that, behind what we're doing, there is the faith element and the reason why we're able to be so sustained, because we look in Hollywood, people are just falling left and right. I mean, celebrity pastors, they're falling left and right because there's like a lack of intimacy and accountability and truth and people pouring into them and people really like remembering, why is it that I'm doing what I'm doing? This is not about me. This is about other people. And I think people forget that. And when you do, you place yourself as an idol and as your own foundation, you're going to fall. Like you're going to fall. And I think that's something that we in this job have to be so conscious of, because there are brand deals and temptations and trips and all these opportunities that are like flying in front of your face and you see these dollar signs, but you have to slow down and be like, okay, God, like, is this really going to bring you glory? And like running it by people like Maddie. I do that with Maddie all the time. And it is like the best thing you can do.
Yeah. And something that I love about you, I just love your boldness. Like, Janine, you're just so bold. And at the end of the day, you don't really care if people like you. And I think that is like,
maybe that's the front I show.
No, I'm serious, because I'll never forget this one video you posted. I want to say you still lived in LA. I don't remember, but it was the like an IGTV or something you posted, and you were like, I'm just going to straight up tell y'all about Jesus, and this is what he's done for my life. Do you remember that?
Was I sitting in the car?
Yes. You were.
Was I crying?
Yes.
Do you, the amount of people that bring up this video to me is still crazy. Someone literally brought that video up to me today. Yeah, that was actually right when I moved back to Dallas, and I was just feeling the Spirit move, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to follow this conviction. And it was so crazy. That video like blew up, but I just love Jesus, and I want people to know about him.
What's cool about it is there's a reason why that video is stuck out to all of us, and it's because of your obedience. I feel like that's been another thing that God has been putting on my heart. What you said earlier, all the little compromises that lead up to, you get to a place and you're like, it's a slow fade, right?
Yeah.
Remember that old, it's a slow fade when you give yourself a word. Do you remember that song?
I can't understand that. I'm not sure.
Okay. Somebody, if you know that song, that comment old Christian song, comment below, because that song was just like the creed of Christian music. Anyway,
love it.
But yeah, but obedience, it's not something that I've been learning lately, is it's not God trying to steal good things from you. So that's the biggest lie we believe, right? Obedience is actually him giving you something better. Always. And recently I've had friends that have gotten into relationships and marriages and different situations where they didn't obey God, and they knew that God was saying, don't be with that person, but their love for them trumped the obedience that God was asking from them. And then now they're in situations where, and we're very open about it. So like, you know, they're like, Mad's like, you know, that I didn't listen, and now I'm in this situation with this guy, or I'm married to this guy that doesn't love the Lord or doesn't honor me, and I wish I would have obeyed.
Gosh, that breaks my heart.
It breaks my heart. It's so hard. But there's always hope in Jesus, right? Yeah. He can turn anything around. So it's not hopeless, right? But I've seen those situations, and I feel like God's been like, Mads, like, in every single thing I ask you to obey in, do it.
Yep.
Like, do it, because not only am I going to reward you, but also like, I have something better. So is the only thing you're going to have to do is wait. Like, just wait, you know, like just wait for something that I have for you that's better. But God has been putting that on my heart. And so in that video, I feel like you obeyed him and he honored that.
Wow.
And that's something that kind of stuck in all of our hearts, was you in the car talking about your love for Jesus, which is so cool.
Wow. Thank you. I so appreciate that. And honestly, when you were talking, it made me think of the Bible verse that says, if you love me, obey my commandments. And it says how his commandments aren't burdensome. And I think people look at that Bible verse and they just see obey my commandments. And they're like, ugh, this is so hard. How could I ever do it? Like, what the heck? Like, he's such a bully. Like, he's just making me obey. And he literally says, if you love me, obey my commandments. It's like, out of his love for him, you obey him. It's not you obey and then you get his love. It's you love him first. And then out of that, you want to obey him because you see, wow, I love him and his ways bring me life and I want to obey him. And then you start seeing, wow, his ways actually bring me life. They're actually not burdensome. Oh my gosh, what do you know? And so
Right.
it's so cool. And like to the point of like your friends, like been there, done that, been in the wrong relationship where I was like, Lord, how will I ever get out of this? But I chose obedience to leave this man, even though it was the
Mm.
hardest thing to do at the time. And I chose it. And now I'm on the other side and I'm like, wow, praise you, God, that I chose obedience. But I chose it with people around me pulling me, being like, you're going to leave. And
Right.
that's what I needed. And so that's just a powerful story. And I think that's what's so cool too, is that there is redemption for anything. God can take anything and turn it around, which is such a beautiful thing of the
Mm.
gospel.
Yeah, and I just feel right now that I need to like tell somebody that if you are in a situation right now that you need to obey, to just do it,
Yep.
because I promise you, it's like God is going to bless that, and we got your back. Like if you
Yes.
don't have, I'm like, we're your community,
Mm-hmm.
like
DM
if you
us.
feel like, DM us,
Yeah, literally.
literally
Mm-hmm.
message us and say like, hey, God's telling me to break up with my boyfriend, but I really don't want to do it. And we're going to be like, hey girl,
We
you
got you.
got this.
Yeah.
Because some people will say like, okay, Janine, that's great, but I don't have any community that is really going to push me to do that. Or I haven't found girls that love the Lord yet. Or
Right.
I'm just now seeing, even if I want to like have a relationship with God,
Yeah. It's a great
we're here for
point.
you.
Yeah.
We're here for you.
Amen. I seriously, I really do feel that way. I've literally sent so many DMs to girls because I check almost all my DMs. I'm like, you can do this. You can leave him. Dump him. Like, not not really, but like kindly. I'm saying that, but I'm like, leave him.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Okay. I actually want to get back to talking about American Idol and your story because I know people want to
Yes.
hear that.
Mhm.
And then we can maybe spend a good 10 minutes kind of on that. But I want to hear a little bit more about American Idol and why did you do it? What was so hard about it? How was your faith challenged in the midst of that? And basically just share like all your thoughts regarding that. It's a
Yeah,
lot of questions.
that's
Sorry.
no, yeah, it's good. It's really good. So actually they, and I don't know if I can share this now because it's been a year out, but they actually came to me and asked me to be on American Idol last year, like a year and some change. And they asked me one time and I said no, because I had been on America's Got Talent like
Mm.
5 years earlier. And I was like, not gonna be on another singing show. It was honestly, it was like a pride thing, like super, super prideful, because I was just like, I don't want to be on another singing show. Like, like it was my heart
Yeah.
behind it. I'll be very transparent with y'all because you're on Janine's podcast listening to this. I just did not have a humble heart about it. And so I said no. They came to me a second time. I said no. And they came to me a third time.
Oh,
And and
the
so then I told,
tea.
yeah, I was like, oh, okay. So then I was like, okay, I'll pray about it. Like I won't just say no because I don't want to do it. So I prayed about it. I asked my family. And then I really felt like God was like, I really want you to do this. So I ended up doing it. And I was a finalist on the show, which I was like,
Woo!
okay, okay, God, you really did it. But I feel like there were so many things that I learned from American Idol, just about myself and the music industry and all these different things. But I think the biggest lesson I learned was I wasn't there for myself at all. Like I was literally there for to love on other people and to
Wow.
support other people. And that one of the biggest things people will say to me about me being on the show is like not about any performances I did, not about my voice. They say that there was this episode where Katy Perry said, we've heard that you're kind of the mama bear of the group and like you really just you care about everybody, you take care of everybody. And that's what people come up to me when they say, hey,
Wow.
can we have a photo with you or whatever. They just want to say like, the reason why we support you, we love your whatever, is because you were a team player on a show that was supposed to be a competition show. And I
Wow.
can genuinely say that was only the Lord.
Mm.
Like because he made it so clear after my pride was like, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing this. He's like, well, this isn't about you, honey. So
Mhm.
you're gonna do it in a loving way, of course. But he's like, you're gonna do it. And on top of that, it's not going to be about you. The
And
amount of
quick
sorry, go
question,
ahead.
you did gymnastics, right? And like cheerleading?
Yes.
So you were used to like competition, and especially gymnastics, it's a solo thing. You're like, I gotta beat this girl. Like, so you're
Right.
normally probably a pretty competitive person.
Oh my Janine. If we're playing kickball in the backyard,
I'm
I'm
getting
about
kicked
to
in the face, for sure.
right. I'm
For
like,
sure.
I'm about to win this.
My nose is
Right.
gonna be broken by the end of that. I swear.
Right.
I'm
Right.
dead.
So yes, I'm a super competitive person. And to put your career and like those stakes on top of it with a competition, it's like, yeah, usually I would be like, oh, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna win this and I'm gonna do my best and whatever. But I felt like I could tell you guys story after story of how God had me pray for people, share Christ with people that were my competitors, or even just stand up and clap and jump around whenever somebody's saying a big note, whatever it was. When I came out of that season, the biggest thing that people have said to me is like about my support for others.
Wow.
And that is only by God, because my flesh in moments, I was so tired. We had like 4 to 5 a.m. wake up calls. We were on set all day. We're
Mm-mm.
singing all day. We're in rehearsals, So my flesh really wanted to make it about me in moments, but God was just like, no, Mads, like you're here to impact other people. And on top of that, share your faith. And I got to sing with my favorite singer in the world, Tori Kelly.
Oh, a goddess.
She's an inspiration to me.
Really?
And I got to sing with her and get to know her through the show. And it was just cool because through even that experience, I got to just openly say on national television, like, you know, I don't have a lot of women to look up to that love God, that are in the music industry, but you have been that person for me.
Wow.
And so overall, the show was a great experience. And it was just it really just shows God's bigger story for us, because my 10-year-old self that used to watch these Carrie Underwoods or whatever on American Idol was now standing on stage, and now little girls are looking up to me. And to be able to, have that accomplishment is amazing, but also to know that that's God's purpose for you and to walk in that, it was so incredible. I don't know if I answered all your
No, you
questions.
did. I mean,
Maybe you can
that
ask.
just it speaks volumes to me to just see like how that's the prime example of being a light in a potentially dark place when everyone else is competing and slandering each other or whatever that case may be, to go in there and just love and serve and like help and pray. And people will notice, like, they're like, wait, what? Why is she praying for me? Why is she supporting me? Like, that to me is a prime example of being in the world, but not of the world. And I just want to like commend you for that. I think that's so, so amazing. I thank you for sharing that. We have 2 more questions. I'm going to wrap up. So what I like to do is I like to take questions from listeners and like actual followers. And so Addie asked you, how do you balance the social media life and just like regular life? Like, is there a discrepancy at all? How much do you spend on social media? Do you take breaks? What does that look like?
I still haven't figured that out, Addie. So if you have any advice, help me. Yeah, I think it's a daily struggle. And you'll probably say this too, Janine.
Yes.
Just with our jobs being
Online.
and then also just being a girl in our 20s, wanting to just be online and be on TikTok and be on Instagram and see what other people, it's fun. Like,
so fun.
social media is not, people like, make it seem like such a bad thing sometimes. And I'm like, it's fun. I love it. Sometimes I literally am on TikTok and I'm like crying by myself in my room because it's so funny.
Or I'm learning things. I'm like, why did no one teach me this? Like, they teach me how to actually like tie a certain thing, and I'm like, no one taught me this. It's so cool.
Like, now I know how to do my taxes because of TikTok. No, I'm just kidding. Right. But like, seriously, it's like stuff like that, or how to cook different things. Or even just like getting to explore other singers, whatever. But I think it's just like a daily surrender and motive of my heart. When I don't wake up and spend time with the Lord, and there's been days where I just wake up and I start working.
Same.
Or I head straight to the studio, we head straight to work. And then the rest of my days usually a lot more stressful, or I'm on social media a lot more. And then there's the comparison, there's the like even just like, oh, I'm not working hard enough, I'm super hard on myself, or
Yes, gosh.
whatever headspace I'm in, it's just like not good. So I think it's like a daily like, okay, God, like just put my heart in the right place, you
Hmm.
know?
Hmm.
And then I think everything flows from that. But Addie, it is hard,
Yeah.
especially when this is like the daily job, I guess.
Yeah, I
And then
feel that.
Janine, what you said earlier too is so what people don't see is also we have teams behind us, right?
Hmm.
And we both love our teams.
Love.
Love you guys if you're listening. Shout out.
Yeah.
Um, but we also kind of have this pressure of like views and
Yep.
money and things that also we can't avoid, right? But we have to navigate that because when we make money, they make money.
Yep.
And so it's hard because you're just like there's a lot of pressure with it, but I think it's a daily like, okay, God, it's minute by minute. What do I do
Hmm.
with this?
Hmm. Yeah, and I think for me personally, I mean, not to take the question off of you, thank you for sharing. But something I found that's really helpful is just taking Sundays off. That's what I try to do. Just consuming less or not even getting on, and I don't post, I don't plan, I don't worry. I'm just like, nope, I'm gonna go to church, enjoy the day with my family, and that's something I try to be really intentional about. And I recommend people listening to do the same.
Yes. That
Okay,
Sabbath day, like without social media, that's so good. That's such good
yeah,
advice.
I completely agree. Okay, the last question that I ask every single one of my guests is, what keeps you happy and healthy?
I feel like this is just a cliche answer
Oh,
for me.
give it, girl.
I'll give like the surfacey answer and then well, clearly Jesus for
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
I'm gonna be honest. That is like not even just that's it for me. Like he keeps me happy and healthy. Without him, without surrendering my life to him, I am usually not happy or healthy.
same
um,
sis.
but I think just surface level, just my daily life, I feel like, you know, for me, my body is important to me. It is what I have to walk around to do everything that I do. So even with me, I'm trying to eat healthy. I'm working out, things that like I know are going to make me feel my best on top of like renewing my mind every single day with him.
Yeah,
I think it's so important because without that, like I don't feel my best. And I think when
mhm,
you feel your best, you can pour out to other people. We were talking about that this morning with the girls is like if you're not your best, then you're not your best for other people. They
yeah,
need you,
hmm,
right? Your friends need you, your family needs you. The people in your life need you. So yeah, I think those two things, maybe those are a cliche. Maybe everybody says
No,
that has
no,
come
you've
on here
actually
that,
like given me the most in-depth answer so far. So I'm like, let's go, Madison.
oh, I don't know, but I think something that I'm super passionate about is exercise, not to look good, not to be the six pack girl 3000, but your whole life changes when you move your body.
Yeah,
And I know that sounds crazy, but me and Janine, we both love to surf. We both
yeah,
love to be active. But
hmm,
there are days where I'm in a bad headspace and I will go out and I'll surf or I'll go on a run or I'll go rollerblading and listen to fun music. And I come back a different person.
yeah.
Like I really come back a different person. I'm
I
like,
feel
okay, that's
that.
all I needed.
Yeah. It's so true. Really, a good workout can just clear like all the negative things you're thinking and bad mindsets and whatever. And I mean, sometimes I just need a good pair of weights to just take my anger out and then I go home and I'm
Right.
like a nice person again. And so I so feel that. I feel like without working out, I'm just like not as nice of a person, which isn't good.
Right.
That was a great answer, though. Thanks for sharing. Thank you for just coming on and sharing your whole story. I feel like there was so many things you said that people need to hear. It's a good reminder for me. I'm so in your corner. Like anything you need, I'm here for you, and I'm rooting for you, and like so proud of you. And I cannot wait to see what music you come out with next. Your latest songs have been so dang good. Like genuinely, I'm not just saying that because like yeah, she's my friend. I'm so serious. Like you keep it up, and I'm just so in your corner, like championing you.
Thank you, Janine. This is like such an honor to be on here. And I'm just so proud of you for, like I said earlier, just being obedient to what God's called you to be. And you have changed, in my opinion, some of the fashion industry with like, you just make things so cool. You
Me?
make the Lord cool. Yes.
That's my goal. Thank
Yes,
you.
you make him cool, and girls are attracted to you because you are like this cool, beautiful girl, and God's giving you so many gifts, but you use those for him.
Mm.
And then it's just so attractive. Like anytime I see you on social media or we just talk or whatever, I'm like, I want to be more like that. But really what I'm attracted to is Jesus in you. So thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me today.
Thank you. That was so sweet. Thank you. And yeah, let me know or let my followers know where they can find you, follow you, anything like that.
Yes, it's just Madison Watkins all across the board. I love TikTok because I'm nuts on there. I'm loving all the just I feel like this generation of social media is so fun right now.
I
So DM
agree.
me, message me. I want to be your friend.
Oh, I love that. I love it. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. I hope this episode was a blessing to you. It was a blessing to me. Madison, I hope I see you soon. I don't know when. Actually, you know what? I'm coming back out in April for SP's birthday, so I better see you there.
Oh, 1000%.
1,000. Thank you for being on Happy and Healthy. I will see you soon. Until then, you guys stay happy and healthy. I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Bye, guys. That was my episode with Miss Madison Watkins, you guys. That girl is amazing. She's funny. She's just, gosh, I just love her. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode with Madison. Definitely go check out her socials. I hope this baby, Justin, is that you? I'm sorry. I meant to say, I hope this podcast maybe helped you because maybe you're in this type of industry or you're wanting to go in this industry and you're kind of like, where do I start? What do I do? What should I be aware of? What should I avoid? This will definitely help you guys out and just giving you some things to think about. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Of course, we do post these every Tuesday, so make sure you're following along, subscribing, leaving a review if you enjoyed this episode and this podcast, and share this episode with a friend. I really appreciate that. We repost every single story that you guys tag us in on Instagram, so definitely go check that out. So I thank you guys so much and have a great day, and I will see you guys next Tuesday for another episode of Happy and Healthy. Bye, 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 bye. Until then, stay happy and healthy. Bye, y'all.